Hi everybody, it's Tenniszon and today I'm gonna review for you the brand new Head Speed Legend MP. Let's go! And by the way, if you haven't seen my Head Speed Pro Legend review, you can click over here. This racket is actually pretty interesting because Head dropped this new Legend line without telling us, or actually officially telling us, that this is actually the 2026 model. So what is new with that Head Speed Legend MP? So basically you have hybrid technology. So hybrid technology is an hybrid between boron and carbon fiber, and basically what this technology is supposed to do is add stability to the racket without losing the maneuverability, because back in the days when you were trying to add stability to a racket, you were usually adding some weight, and so this racket was harder to swing around. Now with this technology, it's supposed to be able to add stability without giving too much of a high swing weight, and so you're not supposed to lose maneuverability. So in order to review this racket, I'm gonna first talk about the specs, and then we're gonna go on the court to rank this racket in 4 categories. You're gonna have control, power, spin, and feel, and finally I'll be able to answer the question, is this new version a good option for you to buy or not? So in terms of specs, it remains unchanged. Actually, the beam is still the same, so they changed the way that they're putting the layout, but the beam is not changed. So you have a 100 square inch head size with a 16 by 19 string pattern, pretty open pattern in general, and you have an on-string weight of 300 grams. What I'm expecting from this racket is to feel a lot more stable, even though it's still only 300 grams. So now let's go on the court. If you're looking to buy some tennis products online, then I have a great news for you. You can use the code ALEXTENNIS to have 10% off your next purchase on Tenniszon. Thanks to them for making this video possible, and let's go back. So let's start with control. So I just felt like this racket was a good in-between because you know, I will make a video comparing this racket with the 2024 version, but basically I just felt like the Exotic 2.0 version was too powerful for my liking. Too high of a swing weight for the power that it was providing. Was hard for me to control with this racket. But with this one, I felt like we were going back to the Exotic 1.0 version that I really enjoyed, and that is probably my favorite head speed of all time. Because I like the fact that this racket was easy to swing around. You have a lot of control, but we're gonna talk about it more in the spin section, because this racket can generate a lot of spin and it helps to control the ball. So in general, it's not a stands out, it's not as control oriented as a Speed Pro, who is a 18 by 20 string pattern, so that's okay, but you're still able to feel and to control the ball, but definitely that it's not a stands out. So I'll have to go with a rating of 8 out of 10 for control. For power, I think they've really nailed this racket. Like I said, the previous generation I felt like was too powerful for this racket. Now it's really like a good in between. You feel like you can have power when you want to grind from the baseline, it's helping you. When you want to attack the ball, it's helping you on the serve too. Flat serve are really great with this racket. So in general, I just felt like, yes, power was good, but manageable. Not like a pure drive or an extreme type of racket that is creating too much power. No, this one is really a good in between. So I won't recommend this racket to someone who really needs more power. I won't recommend this racket to someone who really needs control, but if you're falling in between those categories, then this racket could be a great option for you. So I'll have to go with 9 out of 10. In terms of spin, obviously this racket is not as spin oriented as other type of racket, but it's still doing the job. A pretty modern frame in general. Sometimes it was lacking a bit of spin for my liking, but actually I play with a lot of top spins, so don't really take it into consideration. At least if you're not putting as much spin as I do, because if you're really all about spin, sometimes you can miss a bit your shot due to that. But in general, you feel like you need to adapt a bit to this racket. The other thing is that sometimes you feel like the string is moving a bit too much in the grommet for my liking personally, but it's not like too much where it's like unplayable. It's still playable, still holds up really good, so I'll have to go with 8 out of 10 for spin. For feel, that's definitely a stands out. I've talked about it in my Speed Pro review. I just like this feel. Obviously you're gonna need a lot of time to adapt to this racket. I was basically missing everything the first 2 times that I've hit with this racket, but the third time was the lucky one, or the good one for me. I was able to just control, and the reason being that, not that this racket is stiff, because it's still comfortable, but it feels more stiff. It's pretty hard for me to put words on that, but I just felt like in general you had more feedback compared to the previous generation, and so sometimes I was missing along due to that, just getting used to the ball going out of the string bed pretty quick compared to the other version where you were feeling that the ball was entering and then going out of the string bed pretty slowly. So you need to adapt, but the feel is definitely a stands out for this racket, so I'll have to go with 9.5 out of 10. Finally, I would recommend this racket to someone who likes to grind from the baseline and that want to have that little bit extra power. You're not the person that's gonna create a good pace from the baseline. You're okay, but you need something to help you. And actually, if you want to be offensive, this racket is great. Obviously, you're not the type of person who likes to have a thin beam with a pretty control-oriented racket, or someone who want to have a pretty powerful racket that hits flat, because this racket can also put some top spin, but it's not like too much. So you have everything with a bit of power added to the ball. So if you grind from the baseline and you want a bit more power, then go with this brand new Speed MP. So there you have the overall rating. Finally, I want to thank Tenniszon for letting me try this racket. Without them, it would not have been possible. Don't forget to like, to comment, and to subscribe, and see you next time. Bye bye.